Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains episode review. This time we will be going over episode 119, the second to last episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains anime. It hasn't really set in yet, guys. It really hasn't. Now, before I get into it, I know it's been almost like 2 weeks since I've uploaded anything. I do apologize for that. Just wanted to take some time away. Pete actually filled in, my good friend Pete. He did a great job with the 118 review, so I'm very thankful to him for that, and I'm thankful to all of you for just understanding and letting me have some time away from everything to just clear my thoughts. But I'm doing A-okay. I appreciate the concern, and I'm very excited to talk to you guys about this final duel. I also upgraded my microphone, so if you hear a sound quality difference, if it's a better sound quality difference, please let me know. I spent a pretty good penny on this microphone, so yeah, definitely give me some honest feedback. I can always adjust some things and tweak some settings and hopefully provide the best sound quality that I am able to provide for you guys. But enough about my own microphones and myself. That's not why you guys are here. You guys are here to hear my thoughts on 119 and hopefully give me your thoughts on this episode. Man, it has been so far, I think, a really enjoyable duel. I have really loved this duel. I have really liked the last 7 episodes of VRains. Granted, you know, the whole season entirely, I'm going to look back and say, well, I wish they did some things differently. I wish there was more time. I think the side characters are the characters that got hurt the most in this season, but the main crew, Playmaker, Revolver, Soulburner, even Robopi, who, no, does not fit into the main crew bubble at all, got incredible endings to their characters. Now, obviously, it's, you know, we can't assume that Playmaker and are going to end phenomenally well, because we don't know how this duel is going to conclude, but this episode, in general, I thought was really, really good. Going to Lightning's cave after the Ignis were destroyed through Bowman, he almost knew that Lightning would leave a message for him, or he just had this inkling. He goes to Lightning's hideout, and of course Lightning, this was probably a failsafe. I genuinely don't think that Lightning was planning to be destroyed. I genuinely believe that in Lightning's head, he thought Bowman was going to be that perfect vessel. Bowman was going to lead him and the world to a new future where Ignis rule, where he's able to rule. I genuinely do not believe that Lightning felt he was gonna lose, but at the same time, Lightning, being that evil SOB that he is, was like, you know what, in case I do lose, let me make it so that I is going to go through hell. Let me make it so that the one person, the one Ignis that can stop me, is going to go through the same despair that I felt when I realized I wasn't going to be able to change the future, that it was going to be my fault that the Ignis were unable to coexist with humans. Let me put him through that hell. And that's exactly what Lightning does. He leaves a recording of him talking to knowing that he lost, because the only way that is going to see this recording is if he loses, and he shows a vision of the future. And this vision of the future is Den City, the same bridge that we see Playmaker or Yusaku on at the end of Ending 1 Believe in Magic, looking out on the beautiful horizons of this city. This city is destroyed. This city is demolished. And according to no matter what happens, in some simulations we see, it looks like military planes, it looks like a huge war breaks out in the city or in the world, whatever. I don't know if it's Den City exactly. In some simulations we just see explosions, just random explosions in the middle of cities. Could be bombs, very well that could be what it's symbolizing. But no matter what happens, is going to be the reason that humans will not be able to exist anymore, that it will bring the end of humanity, it will bring the end of the human race. And what I loved about this is it very easily could have been Playmaker convinces that Lightning was lying to him, right? And that's how they end the show. They end the show by Playmaker instilling hope into that will be able to break free of the simulations that Lightning poisoned with him. But they go that extra distance, and that's what I loved about this episode, where they actually doubled down on saying, no, this was not just Lightning. I also ran my own simulations, Yusaku. Ai runs his own simulations. He runs, as he says, thousands and millions of simulations, enters different data points, and no matter what simulation he runs, no matter what settings he has in these simulations, he cannot see a future where the end of the world is not brought on because of him. And he has a great line in this episode. There were a lot of good lines in this episode. He has a great line where he goes, I've seen it with Robopi. The first thing that Robopi did was start to look down on humans. Bowman did it as well. Lightning did it as well. It's just what AI with intelligence are going to do. And I deems that the only way he will not reach that point, even though he probably already has to some degree and he's just self-aware of it, and the only way that the Earth will not be destroyed, the only way that the human race will not be destroyed, is if he kills himself. And that was touched on in the previous episode in 118, where Ai says that no matter how this duel ends, he's going to die. And he does it in circumstances where he knows that Playmaker has to attempt to defeat him to prevent his copies from flooding the world. And Playmaker, if he loses, is going to die anyway. So it's a very complex and just deep situation, way deeper than I first anticipated. And I knew there were going to be deeper elements, right? When we first see Ai's plan, it's kind of unique in the sense that it's not about world domination or destruction, but now we're getting the layers peeled back. And I think it's been a really complex and solid duel and development in Ai's character. A great line that hit me right in the emotion is when Ai says to Yusaku, I've seen what losing a friend is like. It's lonely. It's like going through a heartbreak. And then Yusaku says, by making me duel you, are you trying to break my heart? Essentially saying, you are my friend. And I think that's the first time. I know it was a big statement when Playmaker finally called Ai his partner, but now he's calling Ai a friend. And even Ai acknowledges that. And he's like, wow, that's a fitting touch. And I wanted to be with you during the end. I wanted to be with you during my death. In Ai's mind, this is his last duel. This is where his legacy ends. Whether it's with his victory, whether it's with his loss, it's over for Ai. And it's a very just hard-hitting episode. The duel itself, incredible. I'm going to talk about the proposal at the end, of course. The duel itself was amazing. Seeing Borlode furious. A lot of us, the only qualm we had with that Soulburner Revolver duel, where was Borlode Furious Dragon? It was great to see Zeravoros. Man, it's a shame we're not going to see Furious Dragon summoned. And when Playmaker was fusion summoning, I was like, there's no way that this is going to be Furious Dragon. And what do you know? The card Revolver gave him, a card that is designed to take down Judgment Arrows. Revolver entrusts into Playmaker, and Playmaker comes through, destroys Judgment Arrows with Furious Dragon. That was an awesome moment, and the symbolism of Revolver's obsession with destroying the Ignis and going after, creating a card specifically designed to counter the Pierre Resistance of Lightning, of the evil Ignis. It was just perfect. Symbolism there was freaking phenomenal, and it was awesome to see Furious Dragon, obviously. We see the Arrival reach 22,000 attack. That might springboard it onto the top 10 attack point monsters we've ever seen. I'm not 100% sure if it does, but it might. I have to do a little more research on that because my top 10 list, I left out 2 monsters on that list. But 22,000 attack points. No, it's not Don Thousand's Chaos Imaginary number 1000 Numeronius Numeronia, but it's still cool to see a monster with that many attack points. Playmaker has a completely empty field, and at the end of this episode, Ai makes a proposal, and Ai's proposal is that he wants Playmaker to turn himself into Data, essentially killing himself, becoming one with Ai, and then the two of them will find a way to let artificial intelligence, to let Ignis, to let humans coexist, and that the good nature and the good spirit of Yusaku Fujiki will be enough to counter the, I guess, inevitability that Ai will start to look down on humans, because that's what Ignis with free will, that's what AI with free will, I should say, which are the Ignis, are always going to be bound to do. And that's where this episode ends. If that happens, Yusaku Fujiki more than likely is dead. I don't know if we would get like a super character from that, if they would kind of fuse together. Like when Jaden and Yubel did it, it was very similar, honestly. It's very similar to what Judai and Yubel did at the end of Season 3. The difference is, that was that had a whole nother season to go. So we were able to see how Judai and Yubel were going to interact with each other, and Judai became this badass, see-through people, kind of cold-spirited character in Season 4 that I absolutely loved. We would have no time to expand, to flesh out the relationship of a now fused together Playmaker, Yusaku, and I, which is where it kind of separates itself from being similar to GX. So would Yusaku really die here? Like, I really think that Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains is going to end on a very dark note in one way or another. Either I is going to be killed off permanently, either Yusaku is going to be killed off permanently, maybe they're going to be in the same body, which if that's the case, then Yusaku is killed off. I mean, we've seen Yuma and Astral merge before to form Zale, but in that instance, and in the instance of Jaden and Yubel, the human maintained his body, right? Astral went into Yuma, Yubel went into Jaden, which was permanent, but the human still maintained his form. In this case, it sounds like Yusaku would have to turn himself into Data to go into I, and it would be kind of a vice versa of what we've seen in Yu-Gi-Oh! Before, when we've seen the protagonist merge with a spirit. This is different because it's artificial intelligence. It's a higher plane of being than a human to a degree. So I don't personally know if Yusaku is going to take it. I mean, the one character that I can absolutely sympathize with is I, right? If I saw my future play out, and no matter what happens, as long as I'm alive, for whatever reason, the Earth is going to die. Millions of innocent people are going to die. My loved ones are going to die. Of course, in Ai's case, he still does have people he cares about. I personally believe he cares about Soulburner. I believe he cares about Playmaker a great deal. And he knows that by him staying alive, those characters, those good characters, and again, the innocent people that he's yet to meet, are going to perish. If I knew that, I probably would start to think of a way to take myself out of the equation. I know it's a very dark thing to think about, but honestly, think about it. Like, think about it from your own personal perspective. If you knew that your existence would lead to the end of the world, and if you knew that by not existing anymore, the world and your loved ones and everyone would be able to live on, I understand why I is killing himself, essentially. Obviously, it's a very dark and horrific hypothetical to even think about and start to process, but I really do sympathize with I after this episode, and I think the show has done a really good job of making me do that late on in this season, because we didn't really know what I was going through. I mean, we knew there was a lot of trauma, a lot of survivor's guilt within him, but to see it expanded on recently, and to see it be expanded on in a really well-executed way, has been very fun to watch. But guys, I'm going to stop myself there. I will be doing a big reaction. It's going to be me, Nick T, Pete, hopefully Caliber as well. The main four, hopefully reacting all of us to episode 120. Expect that out on Thursday. And Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains is ending, guys. We have one episode left, and I am thrilled to talk to you guys about everything Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains and just Yu-Gi-Oh! Related in general down below in the comments section. A special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons Alexa Baker, Glen McGookin, Jorge Carrillo, James Rose, Samuel Stark, Thomas Adderley, Horace Maye, Goosey Q, Vincent Van Der Veen, Jordan Osceola, Smith620, Galladiator, FrostReaper, Jorge Leon, and Blue Maiden 28, and to my Diamond tier patrons Jesse Wood, Melinda Phantom, and Ben Hartz, and to my Egyptian God tier patrons Syn Cloud and Joss Rivers. Thank you to everyone who supports me over on Patreon. Thank you to everyone who is a YouTube channel member, and thank you to everyone who just watches these videos and leaves comments down below, because without you guys, I would not be able to do any of this. Love you all. Thank you all so much. Again, sorry about the lack of content recently, but I am looking forward to uploading and streaming consistently once again. I will talk to you all down below. Thank you again so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.